Hi. So this is me covering another Dragon Age Veilguard video, like a hate video and whatnot. And I was recommended this by some of the commenters who wanted me to just go over this. And I watched a bit of it, and I can say I think it is very intriguing. When it's a lot of the arguments that it's a lot more in a way honest than the other videos I covered, but also in another way a bit more dishonest. It's a bit complicated, so I'm going to go through it. So additionally, I am not going to relitigate all the arguments I used in those previous videos. If you want to look at those previous videos of me reacting to and talking about those previous videos, just look in the description below, and then it'll be fine. So yeah, there's nothing else to do it. So let's find out why Bioware hates its audience.
Like a dude.
Oh, and also I'm gonna try not to make this like so long as my previous stuff. I'm gonna make it 2x speed just to hopefully get it done a bit quicker.
Going through a midlife crisis, so many companies are tired of their current audience, and they believe that a newer, cooler, sexier audience is just around the corner if they only do what the popular brands are doing. Recently, we saw the terrible ratings of Star Wars: The Acolyte, which...
Okay, first off, I guess. What? I don't know, man. This seems like a weird thing to say, because it's like, on one hand, that's what companies do, Companies want newer audiences. On another hand, what are you talking about? How are companies, like, not wanting to retain their older audience? Like, again, this is within the context of Bioware hates its audience. So how is Bioware like going for a new, fresh audience? It seems like while it may not appeal to all Bioware fans, like especially the people who like Dragon Age Origins gameplay, it's still definitely a Bioware game, and still definitely a Dragon Age game when it gets down to it.
Seems to be appealing not to Star Wars fans, but supposedly to a new female audience, though they're doing that quite poorly. A brand that did appeal to female audience.
I don't know, Acolyte looks fine, It's also very telling that this guy, again, this is very honest of this guy to say that, hey, they're appealing to this new female audience, which is like, okay, like, I guess the behind the scenes stuff is them saying, hey, we want people to, all people of all genders and all races and whatnot to feel represented right in the show. Like, I guess that's the way, but like, I don't know, Star Wars has always had like a representation. Like, George Lucas didn't just make all the Empire guys white for no reason, And additionally, when the expanded media went into it, they didn't just like make Thrawn a guy, like just an alien guy, without having some issues. He was legitimately discriminated against in the Empire, Like, there's a reason why George Lucas made the Empire all white and made the rebels a diverse mix of races and genders and stuff. It was for a point. And so again, like, this doesn't seem like out of line of it. And additionally, if it isn't good, if Acolytes is a bad show, how is that related to the diverse range of actors and characters? It's just bad writing then. It's not because, like, the thing is, the assumption here is that if you had a female character, they have to be like somehow written better or have to be written differently than a male character, which is kind of weird to imply, because like, you can make a poorly written male character and a poorly written female character. Nothing has to do with their gender, unless it's a story about their sex, like a woman getting raped or whatnot. But then I don't think the Acolyte is about a woman getting raped. Like, just a wild opinion, just a wild thing to throw out there,
Very well with Netflix's Bridgerton series, a proven literary success that printed money for them.
And this is a very interesting. I didn't like go too far in the video, but like, this is a very, very funny point, which is Acolytes is a bad show with a bad diversity, while Bridgerton is a good show with good. It's like, wait, like you'll see these people sort of use other shows, like, and the previous sort of example that a lot of these people used was Ridley Scott from Aliens, Like, oh yeah, so we have bad female characters, Rey from, Star Wars, and then we have good female characters, such as Ridley Scott from Aliens. It's like, okay, the issue with that is that it's clear you are not being very genuine about it, and it's very like, you're not explaining why one's good or not, and additionally, implying that somehow gender is important to those characters, when it's just not the case,
Because they simply had to tell the story that already worked. However, recently they decided that wasn't...
Oh, and that's another thing, like, what do you mean a story that already worked? Like, that's sort of implying that, like, you can't have female characters. unless it has something to go off of, which is like a weird thing to say. I mean,
cool enough, and they have begun to dabble in new directions. Time will tell if that works, but we already know what didn't work, and that was the reveal of the new Dragon Age game, Dragon Age Veilguard, which, until 3 days before the trailer, was known as Dragon Age Dreadwolf. I grabbed this like ratio from the original trailer on Sunday, 1 week from the announcement. Clearly, fans were not happy with what they saw. However, there was slight improvement with the gameplay reveal a couple days later. Here's the ratio on that. It's not great, but it is better.
So I got that one, which is nice.
What's interesting to note is that as of Sunday, the gameplay video had 2.9 million views, while the first trailer had 1.9 million. This might be due to the trailer also getting shown on other showcase channels like Xbox, but I think it's also a signal that gamers value gameplay far more than purely cutscene trailers.
I agree. Like, for video games, obviously, it's gameplay is a very important part of it, because playing a game is like crucial to engaging with the medium. Like, even in walking simulators, you know, the act of walking is still a gameplay feature. You know, you're walking, you're going around, you're sort of piecing the story together, and when you get story information and you're going from story beat to story beat, you're walking, and the only thing you can really do engaging is think. You think about the story. What is it trying to tell you? What is it trying to say? You know, it's a sort of, again, the act of gameplay adds to the game, but like, and that's what makes games really interesting and really cool, because they're interactive, you know? But the thing I have an issue with what the guy is saying, like, gamers just like more gameplay, you know? Which just feels like it's being used disingenuously, in a sort of, people like gameplay and not trailers, and the trailer is like woke or something like that, which I feel like is what's gonna happen.
Since the Summer Game Fest trailer, we also got 20 minutes of gameplay, which looks, well, we'll get to it. And there is also some news involving the game's director and the direction he feels the series should go. There are also some positive bits to point out. It's a lot to cover, but before that, would you kindly press that like button? Or don't, that's okay. A man chooses. I am too old for gamer fuel. I get my caffeine in more traditional ways. That would be Folgers and a new cheeseburger cup, which my loving wife picked up from Hobby Lobby. Well, E3 is in the shadow realm now, so this month kicked off with the Summer Game Fest, a loose collection of publisher direct presentations. Sadly, with E3 being gone, that means Devolver Digital can't do crazy stuff like park semi-trucks just outside of...
Whoa. Internet, don't do this to me now.
Folgers and a new cheeseburger cup, which my loving wife picked up from Hobby Lobby. Well, E3 is in the shadow realm now, so this month kicked off with the Summer Game Fest, a loose collection of publisher direct presentations. Sadly, with E3 being gone, that means Devolver Digital can't do crazy stuff like park semi-trucks.
Dang, dude. Internet issues. I love when my internet just goes out. Hey, you know, this is part of the experience, okay? Oh, I'm gonna have to cut this on tight. Gosh darn it.
Just outside of the venue because they weren't paying those stupid convention prices. You know, Devolver is like the A24 of games. There are some weird titles, but real gems in there. And their direct is only 20 minutes long because it didn't require a live orchestra. Ubisoft is the most pretentious game company. Anyway, at the Xbox showcase, which set a fine tone, when the second announcement was a new Doom Dark Ages, which looks like the doomiest Doom that has ever doomed. Yes, that is a rifle that fires skull shrapnel. Yes, that is a shield with a chainsaw on the rim. Yes, it's releasing in 2025, but already looks 10 times more polished than AC Shadows, which is due in November. Sorry, got sidetracked. We're talking about this stupid-looking hero shooter that got announced a few minutes later. Except it's not a hero shooter. That's right. This isn't Overwatch 3. This isn't a new Fortnite Diablo.
Yeah, dude, I have no idea how people can say this. I think I'm gonna...
Season? This isn't even an ad for a WoW expansion.
Yeah, I still don't get like this. Okay, so let me try to find a good spot.
This isn't Overwatch 3. This isn't a new Fortnite.
Okay. Dragon Age Morrigan. This is something that I will never get, which is like, okay, it looks like Board Night. Okay, it looks like Overwatch. You know, it's like, oh, okay. So it looks like that. Okay, sure. Please explain how this doesn't look similar to this. Like, I'm sorry, dude. If this is like Fortnite cartoonish, whatever, then this is also Fortnite cartoonish. Okay, like these guys are just saying words because they just want to hate Bioware a lot, and so they just like say shit without really actually thinking about what they're saying. Yeah.
Night Diablo flavored season. This isn't even an ad for a WoW expansion. This brightly colored, lighthearted banter during a bar fight scene is for a
Dragon Age has banter and is a bit lighthearted. Yeah, it's not always that, but like, I don't know, dude. Feels like you're not being for
Dragon Age game. You know, it seems like everybody either wants to be the next Game of Thrones or the next MCU, and I hate it all. BioWare has no soul.
How is
left, and this is the kind of garbage that you pump out when you're trying to cop everyone else's style. It's been going on for a couple of years, honestly, starting with when they saw Destiny and they thought, hey, we should do that too. We've only ever made amazing.
Okay, so like Anthem is very complicated because Anthem started its development after 2013 when Mass Effect 3 finished, and like the thing is, right, with Anthem, when it started development, it started out as like Kate C. Hudson's weird pitch for solving storytelling and like trying to marry storytelling and multiplayer together, and it was essentially Destiny in a way, right, it was trying to be Destiny when Destiny came out. And since it was 2013 and 2014 happened, Destiny came out there. So it's a bit of an issue because now, well, their idea was already done before them. Again, this is very weird because like a lot of gamers are a bit dumb on this regard and kind of assume that games just come into the ether like immediately. Like someone sees Destiny and then just like a Destiny clone appears like 5 seconds later. That's not how it works. Usually, if there are similar games coming out in similar time frames, it's usually because they all were inspired by one single game. This being Diablo and the sort of associated and the sort of games that were inspired by Diablo as well, and then try to make their own thing as well. So, again, that's a bit weird to say. And additionally, like Bioware keeps copying. I mean, that's a legitimate criticism to give Bioware, which is that it seems like they never stick to their own identity. Bioware's like gameplay that they started with, Shattered Seal, obviously. With Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, which was real time with pulse combat. And so that was the sort of thing that continued onwards. Jade Empire was a bit of a different game in that regard, because Jade Empire was just a combat game with abilities, you know, which is fine, right? It was a fighting game RPG, which is interesting. But for most of the time, which is Kotor and then Dragon Age, there was more real time with pause combat in Bioware's catalog at the time than there was like real time shooting or action, right? It was only Jade Empire and Mass Effect like that. And so I can get not liking the fact that Dragon Age hasn't stuck to the real time with pause combat. But the thing is, right, that's a legitimate criticism, but it's kind of misses the point that like most Bioware games are still Bioware games. The only most non-like Bioware game is like Shattered Steel, whatever that other like sort of weird cartoonish sci-fi alien game was, and additionally the Anthem. Like those were the most not Bioware games, which compared to like most of the catalog, it's not bad, you know.
RPGs, but I'm sure we can make a looter shooter with no problem, and the youths seem to be loving it. We'll have a hub area and everything. We can sell skins. Live service is amazing. Of course, most of the original gameplay was a straight-up lie. How in the fornication does CEO Andrew Wilson still have a job? More on that in a bit. Anyway, they then
I can agree with that one, but like, man, dude.
Anthem onto digital markets everywhere to crickets. And a year later, after surprisingly no one bought their clearly unfinished game full of samey combat and missions with no endgame, they gave up on it. That's how live service turns into theft, right there. People paid full price for this, trusting the almighty roadmap.
Call a hustle, sweetheart.
This is the common thread with terrible entertainment.
Now, it may seem this guy is making a lot of good points throughout the video, right? That is true, but the thing is, right, the sort of core of it, the intention, it's to hide the other thing, which is the sort of modern audience and stuff like that. It doesn't really feel like it's actually addressing the point, because it's using legitimate criticisms to hide its much more vapid, dumb, really stupid criticisms, you know? Because the core argument that this guy is going to say is basically, hey dude, Bioware is woke, am I right?
Recently, instead of serving the story-driven, RPG-loving fans they already had, they thought there was some fantasy
implying that implying that Dragon Age Inquisition and implying that like Dragon Age 2 Inquisition, Mass Effect series, like even like Andromeda aren't like story-driven is very weird to say. Like if you play those games, those are story-driven RPGs, right? They're more story-driven than they aren't, you know.
Audience out there who would love the Bioware treatment of shooters. Just like instead of serving the massive fan base that came bundled with their $4 billion purchase of Lucasfilm, Disney is currently catering to an audience of I don't even know anymore, and I suspect they don't either. And now, BioWare is dusting off a classic after a decade, Dragon Age. The game, known for its dark fantasy aesthetic, is now bright and cheerful. The game known for its grim, gritty characters is now quips.
I find it very funny that he uses like gameplay trailer, which isn't really representative of how the game looks.
Dragon
This
Age,
is not
the game
how
known for its dark
looks.
fantasy aesthetic.
Inquisition's a lot more. Ooh boy. Oh gosh.
This trailer, we also got 20 minutes of gameplay, which looks.
Inquisition is a lot more like bright and more brighter and shinier than this. Like this is not how Inquisition looks.
Aesthetic is now bright and cheerful.
And then
the game known.
Same with this one, right? This is not how Morgan looks. Okay, let's quickly check again. Okay. Ah yes, Morgan, very representative of how she looks in game. Like this is actually really bad. Okay, compared to like the Dragon Age Valguard trailer, like it's a lot more accurate to how the game looks. Man, this is not how the game looks. This is not Morgan. This looks like, where's this other part of her like clothes? You know, it's like, what is this? It's ridiculous.
For its grim, gritty characters is now quips and banter. Then we got gameplay video. Oh lord, the game known for tough moral choices and tougher tactical combat is now a light.
Tough moral choices. I mean, I did mention this previously in another video, which is, I mean, it does have like moral choices, but a lot of it isn't really that like complicated. Just to quickly go through it, is that most of the moral decisions you made in Dragon Age is, do you want to be evil person or do you want to be good person? It's mostly just that. Like with the section he showed with the Dalish, right? Like the Dalish, with that werewolf one, it's like, okay, so should they live or should they die, right? Problem, they die regardless. And additionally, for Dragon Age, right, and like killing someone, it's very clear and obvious that like killing them would be a bit better than letting them just suffer, especially because when you cure the disease, right, and you cure it, you don't see him. You do not see that werewolf ever again. So there's no other option for that. And additionally, for the bigger moral choices, such as the Dalish one, where you choose the werewolves, Zathrian, or you make peace between them, like, it's clear that making peace between them is a lot better because A, you end a generational curse that is affecting people that is not affecting anymore. B, forcing people to become werewolves, like, is just not a good idea. You know, like, kill them, sure, you know, like, they raped Zathrian's family, right? I have no issues with that, you know. Some vigilantism is sometimes necessary, right? I don't quote me on that. But, like, making peace is a lot better, you know? And Zathrian isn't a happy person. The hatred that he has for these humans and for, like, other people is just, like, not good for him, you know? It's gonna lead the Dalish down a path that's gonna be horrible for their clan, you know? Like, it's not really morally complicated. It's just, I will say it's very interesting. It makes you think a lot about the situation and consider the factors, but I don't think it's morally dubious.
Hack and dodge action game with some dialogue choices that appear to do nothing to affect the story. Let me just show you this travesty. Right out of the gate, we have one of our only neutral points of the video when we are introduced to a very different environment. This fantasy game is darn near steampunk. We've got a floating Big Brother fortress that shines police lights on people. We have neon lyrium lights. Minrathous is unlike anything.
Also, just remember, this guy said that this game is not dark, it's cartoony, it's Fortnite, but like, man, dude, look at this scenery, look at this skyline, dude. This is like gothic as hell, dude. Like, look at all of this, dude. Like, this is like peak fantasy art, you know? You do not see this kind of fantasy art a lot of times, and when you do see it, it's something very special. Like, I remember when I first saw this, I'm just like, man, this is like beautiful, dude. Especially with the searchlights that are there, which is very like good to show how Tevinter is a very like morally dubious like nation, and how they sort of just like treat their citizenry like nothing, right? Like, this is a wonderful piece, but the guy's like saying like, it looks bad, it looks terrible. Like, I don't know, guys, like, open your eyes, see what I'm seeing, okay? It looks wonderful.
I've seen Vegas, which might be one of the few pluses about this game, depending on, how you get to explore. The gameplay slice doesn't make it seem great, though it's not exploration time. The fade is, being torn open here. However, and I'm gonna have to repeat this a few times, this is what they chose to show us. This is all I have to go on, and it's not great.
This seems like complaining, like, for no reason, you know? It feels like you're just saying that, like, they only showed me the prologue of the game. How am I supposed to, like, my guy, like, you know that Origins did the same as well. It only showed, like, a slice of the game and not the full game, you know? This is to give a taste on what the game is about and what the general idea is, you know? It seems weird to just go, like, but, like, they just showed me this game with no real context. Why didn't they just spoil the entire game, you know? It's like, This feels like you're looking for something to hate instead of being rational, you know? The rational opinion is, I have no idea if the game's like choices and consequences are going to mean anything later on, so I'm going to refrain from saying anything. Could it be good? Could it be bad? I have no idea. We're going to have to wait and see. No, it's coming with the presumption that Bioware bad, so therefore I will assume the worst. Which is like, I don't know, man. That's not a great rational idea, you know?
Anyone who wants to say, oh, well, I bet the game is better, you really need to ask yourself why they didn't show any of it. If a lot of the game takes place in Minrathous and it's a cool city you can explore and do quests in, why did we only see a straight path with demons you could pet, you're so close to them, but they do nothing? One thing that concerns me, and this isn't Bioware's fault, but Baldur's Gate 3 showed us a weakness. Cities can be tough to pull off in a game like this because making them feel alive means making them packed.
My guy, like even Baldur's Gate didn't show you the city until like literally up to the point of its release date, you know? It didn't do that, you know? And when it did, it didn't show everything, you know? Like, I don't know, man, this really does feel like just complaining for the sake of complaining, you know, and isn't really substantive, right? Like, we saw a short slice of Minrathous. We'll come back a little later, I imagine. But like, I don't know, man. This just feels like complaining for complaining's sake. I can't really say anything because all the guy is just saying is like unverifiable. I can't say anything, but neither can he.
And it's difficult to move about, and your camera might fight you, and you might not be able to locate what you're searching for. One of the biggest complaints about Baldur's Gate 3 was Act 3, with many people saying they felt downright claustrophobic. But who knows? Because they didn't bother to show it in the...
I mean, like, I agree that, like, Act 3 for Baldur's Gate 3 is a bit of an odd one, but that's just because I think Larian doesn't really understand, like, narrative pacing a lot. And what I mean by that is, it seems like with Larian, right, it just, like, there isn't like a big rise then like immediate fall, right? Like how most narratives are done. It's goes, then chops down. It's like you're literally at the end, near the end of the game, and like you still have so many quests to do, and you still have so many things to do and interact and whatnot. And then like near at the end, like 100-hour mark, then immediately it drops, right? Which is not how like most narrative games do that. You know, that's a weakness of Baldur's Gate, which is making you have to do things that feel narratively irrelevant. You know, like you're literally going as you're going into the city, feeling the earthquakes that the elder brain is doing, and because of that, you know, it's like, oh, we need to do this, stop this right now. No, you need to get Dribble the Clown's parts. Oh, okay. Hey, you need to go find this guy's daughter. No. Okay. Hey, you need to go do the side quest about this skeleton, about this mummy, right? Like, oh, okay. Oh, you need to go solve this issue with his painter. Oh, okay. It's like, it's so much, you know, that it feels like it's incongruent with what's actually happening, you know? Like, I can agree with that. But again, I feel like this is, again, a weird point to mention, because it's like, one, even Baldur's Gate 3 leading up didn't show a lot of its city, and when it did, it didn't show too much, right? I don't know, man. It feels very weird to say this, because again, this feels just like complaining for complaining's sake.
The first gameplay trailer that people have been waiting a decade for. Amazing marketing.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Anyway, our action begins, and we're running. And right away, this feels like manufactured tension, and I'm feeling none of it. Oh, look, demons are everywhere, but they're not paying attention to you, even though you pass right by them. These are somewhat scary-looking puppies that have been turned.
I guess, but like, I don't know, man. This feels like, okay. I feel like if this guy, if Bioware didn't like have the demons on the path that you're going and like attack you from there, and just doing it off the side and whatnot, this guy would have complained that, why aren't we actually seeing the demons up front? It seems like Bioware just doesn't want to have any tension and whatnot. Again, this feels like complaining for complaining's sake, you know?
Turned loose, and they think everybody is playing chase. But the real issue with this trailer is right here, the combat. Ask anyone who has experience with this series what's so great about it, and they'll either tell you the dark fantasy moral greatness, or they'll tell you Origins had amazingly deep, squad-based tactical...
Yeah, Origins, okay? Like, let's ignore the other two Dragon Age games that are also really good, okay? Let's just focus on this, like, again, like, there's an argument to make that, hey, it would have been cool if Bioware had like a consistency with like their series, right? Like I am of the opinion that Mass Effect 1 should have like been the foundation for all the combat of the rest of the Mass Effect series, right? It shouldn't, and it does suck that like Mass Effect 2 isn't really that, and it's just like, oh, we have now a third-person shooter Gears of War style gameplay. Like, okay, I mean, it would have been cool if you retained like the other elements in the previous games, you know, of Mass Effect 1, but like, nah, dude, they just shifted. And like, that is an issue, right? But again, I don't know, dude. This just feels like complaining for complaining's sake, you know? Like, if this video was just like focusing on this specific like idea on like some issues that Bioware has, then sure, that's fine. But it isn't. This is framed as Bioware hates its audience. And additionally, one of the things that makes Dragon Age Origins isn't really its gameplay, it's its story, characters, and the way it uses its RPG it uses the RPG genre to tell its story, right? Which like hasn't really changed, you know, for any Bioware game, right? It's been weaker, it's been stronger in some games, but like it's still there, present in all their games, you know.
Combat that got scrapped in the sequel and fans hated it, and was partially revived with the third entry, Inquisition. So, after 3 tries and lots of feedback, we are going with a dodge and slash. Do we have a squad? Barely. Mostly off camera. Do they help? Doesn't look like it. So, it's just you hacking away at the...
I mean, okay. I guess. I don't know, man. Again, this feels like complaining for complaining's sake.
These enemies who are very politely waiting their turn while you bounce around like Philip, the hyper-hypo.
I'm hypoglycemic and hyperactive.
They said the name was changed from Dreadwolf because they wanted to focus on your team, not the villain.
Where are they? Where are they?
And then they showed gameplay where you don't have a team. These other people are just kinda...
I'm sorry, what? I have eyes? I can see? I think that's Varric. I think that's Scout Harding, you know? Like, I don't know.
Hated it and
like,
was partially revived with the third entry, Inquisition.
She's shooting
So,
people?
after 3 tries
She's
and
hitting people?
at amazingly
and
deep...
like later in the game, like what is this? like, well, yeah, we're focusing on your team. And additionally, this seems very like disingenuous, so, like a bad faith interpretation of it, which is, oh yeah, they said teams gonna be important. Where are they in gameplay? I don't see them. Okay, don't mention the fact that I'm covering my eyes. Okay, like my guy. It had multiple layers to it. It's not just gameplay, it's also story, which you can see in the gameplay reveal, you know?
Squad-based tactical combat that got scrapped in the sequel and fans hated it, and was partially revived with the third entry Inquisition. So, after 3...
Wait, hold on. I didn't...
Anyone who has experience with this series, what's so great about it? And they'll either tell you the Dark Fantasy moral greatness, or they'll tell you Origins had
also Dark Fantasy moral greatness. Okay, I'm glad we still haven't left to the idea that, like, the Broodmother was peak and it should be in every single game ever, okay? I'm glad.
amazingly deep squad-based tactical combat that got scrapped in the sequel and fans hated it, and was partially revived with the third entry Inquisition. So, after...
Okay, yeah, sorry. I thought you said something else.
3 tries, and lots of feedback, we are going with a dodge and slash. Do we have a squad? Barely. Mostly off camera.
It's not
Do they
necessarily
help?
dodge and slash. It's... the best way I can describe it is that the Veilguard gameplay isn't really a dodge and slash. It looks more similar to like a Mass Effect game. It's like Mass Effect with swords and shields, you know? Like, that's like, it's basically Mass Effect. You can pause, you can tell your companions what abilities to use. It's very similar to Andromeda in the fact that you can tell them which ability to use, like a 3-slot ability and whatnot. And John, like it's more similar to Mass Effect, but again, I don't dislike the argument that like maybe they should have stuck with Origins. But the thing is, right, I don't think this new gameplay style is bad. You know, I don't think 2 was bad. I don't think Inquisitions was bad. My issue is the inconsistency, not the fact that the gameplays are bad, you know. But if these people acknowledge that like the gameplays weren't bad, they kind of like feel like weaker arguments, you know, because it's like, well, I mean, it's not terrible, but like, I mean, like you can still focus this still strengthen the argument of like I would like a consistent gameplay experience, which again, I don't feel like it's going to be used like very genuinely. Or I don't think it's going to be used in any real way because I feel like it's masking all of the other issues, you know.
Doesn't look like it. So, it's just you hacking away at these enemies who are very politely waiting their turn while you bounce around like Philip, the hyper-hypo.
I'm hypo.
I don't know, dude.
The Dark Fantasy moral greatness, or they'll tell you Origins had amazingly deep
it seems like
squad-based
they're
tactical
approaching
combat
you.
that got scrapped in the sequel and fans hated it, and was partially revived with the third entry Inquisition. So,
They're
after
just saying shit. Okay? Like, I don't know, man. This just feels like they're just saying stuff just to hate Bioware, okay? Like, I don't know, man. It seems like they're attacking you, you know? It just seems like the guy who's playing is playing, like, a good player. Like, oh, I should dodge before I get hit. Like, man, I know for a fact people are gonna say that, like, oh, man, dude, like, this guy keeps getting hit over and over again. Bioware bad. It's like, there's no real core, core axiomatic values for these guys. It's just literally... The core axiomatic value is just like I hate Bioware and I'll make any excuse to hate Bioware, okay? It's like, okay.
retries, and lots of feedback, we are going with a dodge and slash. Do we have a squad? Barely. Mostly off camera. Do they help? Doesn't look like it. So, it's just you hacking away at these enemies who are very politely waiting their turn while you bounce around like Philip, the hyper-hypo.
I'm hypoglycemic and hyperactive.
They said the name was changed from Dreadwolf because they wanted to focus on your team, not the villains.
Where are they?
Then they showed gameplay where you don't have a team. These other people are just kind of nearby. Here, we've got some more baddies who don't feel like attacking you. But wait, there is tactical combat.
Wow.
Every now and then you pause, and you pick this single skill. The screen looks like you're going to have more choices later, but again, this is what they showed. So we're not...
Man, dude, and this is another very disingenuous argument when he says, like, you could pause, and then it looks like you can choose one single ability. I mean, maybe there's more. I don't know. It's like... Holy shit, dude. Man, if you just hate Bioware, just say it, okay? You can have a 50-minute video just saying, like, I hate Bioware, I hate Bioware, I hate Bioware. And that would have been a lot more, not only coherent, but a lot more understandable, okay? If you just don't like him, sure, dude. But, like, don't use dumbass arguments, you know? It's just like, my man, why?
Not showing off a lot of game mechanics. There's no commentary or anything here. Are you getting Anthem vibes?
I'm sorry, did you really want them to, like, when they're doing this, okay? Just, like... And here we have... our character, Rook, attacking the enemy, Devinters, as you may know. It's like, fuck? Like, dude. Like, this is just a standard thing that most AAA games, like, not even AAA, just most games in general do. They show a gameplay with no commentary, so you can experience it by yourself, so it's not being, like, framed in a way the developer has it seen, so it's a lot more honest, you know? Like, this is just something, like, what is this, dude? It just, man. Oh my gosh, dude.
But wait, there is tactical combat. Every now and then you pause, and you pick this single skill. The screen looks like you're going to have more choices later, but again, this is what they showed. So we're not showing off a lot of game mechanics. There's no commentary or anything here.
A lot of game my guy, I think they showed them a game mechanics. Like, what are you talking about? Like I have eyes, I'm not like covering the screen and just interpreting what's like like what's happening, They showed how combat is working. They show that you can like have ranged combat as well. They can show that you have abilities like up to 3 it seems, and you can use them in a sort of pause tactical way. Like okay, cool. And then you have companions where you can also choose where they target their abilities. Like it seems like they showed gameplay mechanics. Like maybe they didn't show like crafting, I guess, but like I don't think crafting is important in the prologue. I would criticize a game if like the first act of it is like, okay, time to collect like 50 fucking 100 like elf fruit. Okay, time to go, Inquisitor. My guy.
Are you getting Anthem vibes yet? Hey, did you know that team didn't know what their game was going to be called until just a couple of days before their trailer came out?
Okay, Anthem is a very complicated like game. When Anthem was coming out, it was, and this is something you can criticize Bioware, and I would agree with a lot, is that Bioware seems to have this weird issue where a lot of the years, which was like the sort of idea of Bioware magic, right? Where if they work on a game and the last few months of a game, they'll be able to come together and make the game solid and whatnot, which is an issue that like affected Anthem a lot. Additionally, other factors for Anthem was like, hey, we don't really know what we want to do because the leaders on Anthem didn't want any comparisons to Destiny. Right? None of them, like when Destiny came out and it was still being in development, right? Because it started development like 2013, but it only really started development in like I think 2016. Yeah, 2016, which was I think 2017 when Andromeda was released, right? So then in 2019 when it released, it had a lot more development, but like they still didn't know what they wanted to do. There wasn't really an idea of it. Like the same with the flying mechanics, right? The flying mechanics was a thing that kept getting introduced and removed constantly within Anthem's development, and like that's a true and fair criticism for Bioware, right? But the thing is that I have an issue with is saying that like bloody heck, Dreadwolf, Veilguard is the same boat, which is like Veilguard also had a troubled development starting over again, like I think 2 times, once was like when it was canned so Anthem could get some stuff, and then the second time when it removed the microtransaction stuff, right, and made it like offline single player. And so it did have a difficult development, but the thing is you need evidence for that. You need like developers behind the scenes saying, hey, this is actually going to be a bad game, but you don't have that. You're just making claims. You're making shit up, okay? Like, the most rational thing to say is, we don't know. Dragon Age Veilguard had a troubled development. We're starting, like, over 2 times, and then we don't know if it's going to be a good game or not. So, what we can look at is the gameplay. And the thing is, the gameplay doesn't look bad, dude. Like, is it Origins combat? No, it isn't. But that doesn't automatically mean it's bad. It's bad because it's inconsistent, but it's not bad because the gameplay itself is bad.
They had to write additional story to fit the name after they decided on it. Jason Schreier did a full autopsy a couple years ago. It's fascinating.
I mean, that kind of... Okay, you want something that's going to blow your fucking mind, okay? Dragon Age wasn't named Dragon Age until very later into development. Like, the names for Dragon Age were just, like, coming out of the wazoo. And then eventually when they said, yeah, let's call it Dragon Age. It's a fantasy-sounding name. And then when they named it Dragon Age, you know what happened? They didn't have dragons. The Archdemon wasn't a dragon. There was no high dragon by the Urn of Sacred Ashes. Flemings wasn't a dragon. There was no dragons. There was no dragons whatsoever. So they had to retroactively make a reason why there were dragons. And you want to know something else that's a bit of a funny thing? You know the Darkspawn, the thing that Origins fans absolutely crave for? It was not what David Gator wanted. David Gator did not want the Darkspawn because he didn't want just a evil race where you can just kill them with no thought, right? Like, it's just a morally correct thing. He didn't want that to happen. He wanted a very political game, a very game where you have to solve dispute between political factions and have to like make those sort of like morally great choices. Which again, I don't necessarily think Dragon Age Origins has like morally great choices. It's just like choices that are very interesting to think about. But Dragon Age did not have like Darkspawn until later into development, and they had to make up reasons for why they existed. Now, it is brilliant. It is like seamless how they sort of added it in, and I think Anthem's the same way as well. That they sort of made it very seamless. If you said to me that the idea of the Anthem in Anthem was like something that happened very late into the development, I wouldn't have known, because it does feel like it's like integrated very seamlessly. But the point is, right, is like, again, this feels like you're making an argument saying like, well, Anthem's bad as well because it added this new thing late into development. Motherfucker, you do realize that like BioWare has been doing this since Dragon Age, you know? Like, I don't know, man.
Link it in the description. When you read it, and you should, it will make you extremely pessimistic about this game, because similar development issues are plaguing this team. Anyway, these guys are half-heartedly fighting.
Do you have any evidence for that? Like, yeah, sure, you can talk about that, but like, where's the evidence? You can talk about the 2 times it was like had to be remade and whatnot from the ground up, but like, you're not doing that. Again, dude, like, you can make so many good criticisms against BioWare, but they never do that, you know? It's literally, they hate BioWare, and every single position they take is just to hate BioWare, okay? It's nothing else other than just to hate BioWare.
You, and the enemies here are, they're just so polite, they even have bright yellow arrows to let you know where their magic is about to go.
What? You do realize that Dragon Age Origins had like a casting timer where the guys were like, dun, 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 and they literally had a bar on top of their like heads saying that, okay, this spell is going to be complete, you know? You do realize they had that, you know? Like, what is this, dude? Like, I don't know, man. But yeah, like, it's weird to say that because like Dragon Age Origins also had that with their like big blizzards and firestorms and whatnot, right? Like, the caster would literally do this, so it would give you time to like interrupt or reposition your guys, you know? Like, what is it? Again, this feels just like complaining for complaining's sake, you know? Like, is this not consistent with like how Dragon Age does it? And you can say like, well, these are like tiny spells, you know? They're not that big, you know?
Sure. They're just so polite.
And
they even have
like,
bright yellow.
I mean, like, I don't know, dude. They're fast. You know? I don't know, man.
Arrows to let you know where their magic is about to go. Look, I don't believe that every game needs to be Dark Souls, but more games are getting this kind of boring combat because the enemies have no AI, they do no damage, and you just need to mash attack. The encounters
I mean, I don't... Man, dude, I know for a fact, if people, like, if this was, like, on the hardest difficulty for, like, Dragon Age Veilguard, people would be like, damn, dude, why is this guy such a bad guy, you know? He's terrible at video games. BioWare, I hate BioWare. Like, my dude, recognize the fact that this is a reveal, and you're trying to show, like, how gameplay is supposed to operate, right? You're not dying every 5 fucking seconds, you know? Again, this is not Dark Souls, right? Like, and I don't know, dude, and this is not Dark Souls gameplay. It's literally just, like, Mass Effect gameplay, but, like, with fantasy elements, you know? Or, like, more fantasy elements.
Really feel like they're just time padding. Oh, there are also environmental puzzles to solve. Here, check out this barrier the enemy set up.
Looks like the Venatori put up a barrier to block the way.
You see that? You can't just mash attack in this game.
What's the issue? Like, Dragon Age Origins also had this shit. Maybe not like a red lyrium thing, but like, they had you, as the player, click on something to remove it. Like, I don't know, man. Like, dude, this just feels like complaining for complaining's sake, you know? Like, literally.
You really need to think about what you're doing. But there's also a boss fight, a pride demon. Wait, is that a pride demon? Kinda looks like the other
Damn, dude, like, you telling me that Dragon Age Origins didn't have boss fights? Man, this is news to me, you know? Like, I thought when that giant health bar with the High Dragon, with Flemeth, with Zathrian, with the Lady of the Forest, with Loghain, with Bronca, with Caridin, I thought those were like boss bars. I guess not. I guess BioWare just made them big for some reason, you know?
demons, just larger and without the cloak. Is this why the game took a decade? Because we were redesigning existing enemy models, changing things?
Again, you can make a criticism that like it's odd to redesign the demons, especially the Pride Demon, especially because it's been very consistent, you know. But like again, I feel like you could make the argument that is this not the Veil being very weak, you know? Like, is this not the game showing us that when the Veil is very weak, the demons and spirits will look different because of it? That, like, they will have, like, different appearances, you know? And additionally, demons are not, like... Demons do not look like one thing just because, you know? They have a variety of forms, you know? And they're supposed to, you know, not just be one thing. There are multiple times within the series where demons take up forms that they don't usually have. Like with Shale in... like with Shale, when you go recruit Shale, there's a Desire Demon that's transformed into a cat, and like, okay, cool, like, you know, it's them taking on the appearance. And then additionally, you have other instances in the Mage Tower where demons take on images and forms that are, for other people, look normal and whatnot, but for us, the player, it's obviously a demon, you know? Like, I don't know, dude. This doesn't feel like a big criticism, you know?
just to change them. Like Anthem! I know this is a tutorial area, so this fight is easy.
Holy shit, dude. Like, what do you mean, like Anthem, my guy? Like, Man, dude, you can just say you hate Bioware for 50 minutes and that'll be fine, you know? You didn't have to make this video, okay?
But wow, this giant demon does no damage. The character just rolls about and slashes and it goes down. Takes 2 minutes.
Damn, I like it when in my gameplay reveal, the guys just, like, die immediately and then go from there. It would be honest, I guess, you know, on, like, hey, this is sometimes happens in video games, but, like, I know for a fact people would have been livid because of this. They would have been livid that, like, damn, Biowares are bad at games. How can they make games if they're bad at their own games? Like...
It's because it has 3 health bars. Okay, that's what they want to show you, I guess. World premiere after a decade. All right, so the combat looks generic, but don't fear. This is Bioware we're talking about, okay? The writing at Bioware is what sets them apart. The characters, the story, these guys are the pros.
Rook, you're with the Shadow Dragons. I figured you'd know Minrathous better than I do.
Sure, but Minrathous is huge. This is nowhere near my neighborhood. I can try.
Don't worry, scouting's my specialty. Follow me.
Some old friends.
Okay. Do you not think it is important for a character to ask another character, hey, I know you're part of this organization that is a part of Tevinter that's, hey, very wanting Tevinter to be changed. What do you think about this area? And then when he says, it's not my area, I'm not particularly familiar with this place, that's not a bad thing to say. What was Scott Harden supposed to assume? Mind read our character and say, like, yeah, you don't know anything, okay, dumbass. Like, what are you talking about? Like, man, this feels like complaining for complaining's sake, you know. It's not bad writing. It's actually good writing for a character to ask you something that makes sense for them to ask you, right? It's like literally the basic trope of character goes to X, right? Like character Y goes to character X. Character Y asks, hey, have you seen Z thing? You would know about it because your background. And then when character like X says, sorry dude, I don't know about that thing because of this reason, it's like, man dude, complaining for complaining's sake, dude, holy shit.
Said if I was working in Tevinter, the Shadow Dragons are worth trusting. We haven't got a lot of time. Barry said you had a lead on Solus.
You get right to the point.
Okay, well,
What's wrong with that writing? Okay, let's hear, my guy.
that wasn't great. Seems to be a choice just to make you feel good. But wait, who's that new companion? I bet she's interesting.
All right, Harding. Not the worst.
Okay, so no examination on why the writing is bad. Just saying, like, I guess it's a choice. Like, I don't know, my guy. I think in Baldur's Gate 3, when they have, like, 3 options, which is 1, persuasion, 2, using my bard skill, or 3, using intimidation, all those lead to the same outcomes, dude. A role-playing game, when you have options like those, are meant to be flavorful to your character. That's the point of RPGs. Not every single dialogue, choice, and words you speak are gonna make, like, a different game entirely, okay? That's not how any RPGs have worked, ever. They were always flavorful dialogue with some meaningful choices in between. And, like, I don't know, man. Like, again, this feels like complaining for complaining's sake. Like, Baldur's Gate 3 does the same thing as well. Like, you can have an option that changes it, but then you additionally have 2 additional options to have the same outcome. But, like, it doesn't really register that you were this intimidating guy or this persuasive guy or a bard, you know? The game doesn't assume who you are. The game just says, hey, dude, here are your options based on your background, right? Based on your things. And go ahead. Go wild, you know? Like, this just feels like complaining for complaining's sake, my guy. And also, she's very pretty. Holy shit, she's very pretty.
Timing?
We thought the Venatori had kidnapped you.
They thought the same thing.
Oh, we're doing MCU quips in the middle of
What? How do you... Like, I... You know why I hate Marvel, okay? Because Marvel bred like a cavalcade of people who will never stop saying, Marvel dialogue, Marvel dialogue, Marvel dialogue, when it's never Marvel dialogue, okay? They're just say shit to say shit, you know? And even when it is Marvel dialogue, they will not use their tiny brains, okay, to sort of examine why it was like that, you know? It is simply, for no reason, just, I hate Bioware, I'm gonna use things that people say are bad, so I'm gonna use MCU dialogue. My guy, it's clear who Nev is. Nev is a very, like, sassy, like, powerful mage who kind of, like, you know, believes in her own Kool-Aid a bit more, you know? And so when she says that, it's natural for her character to say that, my guy. Like, I don't know, man. This just, again, feels like complaining for complaining's sake, you know?
a battle. That's choice, okay? But Bioware's a big company. They've got EA backing them. They got deep pockets, so I know they hired really good voice actors.
I know these trees. This is Arlethan Forest.
And there's your ritual. The power involved. I've never seen anything like it. You have to stop this demon quickly. What? No. Stepping into all...
Okay, he's gonna have to explain how any of that voice acting is actually bad. Like, there is no way in any reality that this is bad dialogue, okay? Like, this is bad dialogue or bad, like, voice acting. It's not bad voice acting. It's actually quite good voice acting. Like, man, dude. Okay, let's hear how he says this is bad voice acting. It could be a bunch of reasons. Maybe the characters don't fit their voices, the fit their characters. You know, maybe the voices don't sound right in the context of what's happening. Let's see what happens.
All that raw magic is suicide.
I'm pretty sure I could frame a house with that delivery. Okay, she sucks. Harding isn't much better, but that doesn't matter if they're help.
Okay, cool. Damn. And man, dude, like, why are they like this, dude? They can't just make legitimate points, okay? They have to make points that, like, make no sense, have no basis, and it's all just for, like, hating Bioware, you know? It's nothing else, you know? Like, what is this, dude?
Helping you take down demons, right? Oh, these companions do nothing! They don't even have a health bar. Enemies don't target them. You don't issue commands. They do basically 0 damage. One of your hits is equal to probably 10 to 12 of theirs. Later on, we see Nev doing magic. We see little snowflake visuals, but it doesn't even seem to be slowing the enemies down or doing anything. Okay, alright. They said the story is supposed to be about them, though. How am I supposed...
Okay, so with a lot of companions in video games, right, there's this very big issue which can happen, which is, should companions have the same amount of powers that a player character has? Should they be as powerful as the player, right? And this happens in, like, manifests in 2 ways. One, in, like, for example, Fallout New Vegas with Boom, the companion Boom. He is legitimately a character you can just set off to attack everyone, and you could do nothing. Like, nothing, literally nothing, right? It takes anything that you do in combat, literally no effort. You just sit around, let him attack, and then you're fine. You're okay. He's doing it. And some people had an issue with this, because if you're not doing a playthrough where you're just, like, using Boom as your attack dog, right, but you're playing, you know, we actually, like, fighting alongside him, right, there's an issue that could come about, which is, hey man, I wanted to do this thing, but, like, Boom just, like, stole my kill, right, and not just in a, like, oh man, I'm upset that I didn't get the kill, you know, it's a, oh man, I wanted to do something, like, maybe I wanted to throw an explosive, Boom killed them, my explosive is gone, and I didn't really want to waste that explosive, but Boom just killed them for some reason. Like, that is a legitimate reason to, like, you know, be upset about it, right? And, like, I don't know, man. Like, and so you can say, like, maybe the companions should do more damage, maybe they should be more contributing, but, like, again, I don't know, man. This is, again, in the context of Bioware hates its audience, I don't see how this is Bioware hating its audience, you know? Also, I just realized something. I probably should have, when the dialogue was happening, should have not put it in 2 times speed, just so you can actually understand it. So let's go through it and just see, like, if it is actually bad.
And there's your ritual. The power involved. I've never seen anything like it. We have to stop this demon quickly. What? No. Stepping into all that raw magic is suicide.
I'm pretty sure I could...
So, without 2 times speed on, it sounds fine. Like, again, I still don't get the point that this guy is trying to make, which is, like, it sounds terrible and bad, you know? It's such a weird thing to say, you know?
Okay, alright. They said the story is supposed to be about them, though. How am I supposed to interact?
Boys and girls from far and near, you're welcome as can be. M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E.
I don't see what the issue is, though. That just seems like a standard choice that even Dragon Age had for you. Like, in Mass Effect, right? Like, if you didn't, like, have companions who was for their specific mission, right? They would talk about it and said, like, hey, why didn't you bring me here, or whatnot. Same with, like, Dragon Age, right? Like, I don't know what this is. It's just a choice that Bioware has done even in Dragon Age Origins. Not, like, the exact same one, but, like, the same ones, like, spiritually, you know?
Oh. Some dialogue choices raise or lower an unapproval score. Probably
Damn, dude. Like, all RPGs with companions, damn.
for eventual boning purposes. That choice did nothing to affect the story. By the way, there it still goes, Dr. Gold. They inserted that little choice so...
What? Like, I will say that I do wonder what would happen if you chose Nev. You know, what would like the consequence if you chose Nev? Would it be any different or whatnot? I'd like to see that, you know, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like this is like complaining for complaining's sake.
Solely so that you could raise or lower your companion relationship scores. BioWare isn't listening to player demands on combat, but the director made sure to focus on companion sexuality. More on that in a minute. Okay, so the name...
Yeah, and this is I think the real meat of this guy's video, is that it's all the other stuff about dialogue, voice acting, choices, everything about that is not what he actually wants to talk about. He wants to talk about and use the sort of framing of gameplay and like the actual game to actually talk about what he really wants to talk about, which is, hey dude, it seems like BioWare's a bit woke, aren't they?
Name got changed from Dreadwolf, probably because the big build-up to Solus goes nowhere, and he's not as big of a bad as he seems, right? I don't know, he's opening...
The reason they changed the name is because it's more representative of what the game is. Sure, Solus is still a bad guy, you still fight him and whatnot, but like, it's not just about Solus. Literally at the end of the trailer, we see two other figures that are very big and powerful, presumably the Elven Gods, and now... It's not just about Solus. Saying it's the Dreadwolf isn't really being honest about it. The Veil God is a lot more honest about it because you are protecting the Veil. You know, the thing that the barrier between the Fade and the and real world. Like, man, dude. Again, this feels like complaining for complaining's sake. You know.
He does seem very powerful. I definitely couldn't stop him by hacking at a wood beam 4 times and then have 2 people push on it, right?
So. A big issue that I think Dragon Age Veil God's going to have to solve is how are you going to fight Solus when, like, in Dragon Age Trespasser, he just turns people into stone. Like, what is preventing him from just turning people to stone? The reason he isn't, like, killing Varric is because, A, he has a good relationship with Varric, and B, he doesn't want to do... like, he's clearly focused on other stuff, but if he was directly attacked, he would focus on you and turn you into a statue or, like, knock you off, you know? Like, that is what happens. And the reason Varric goes there is because he and Solus have a relationship. Like, my God, and the statue, like, the breaking the statue breaks the ritual, and that's, like, the point, you know? Like, I will say, it is a bit odd, like, that you have to break a statue and go from there, right? I think it would have been cool if we had maybe an explosives on us, and then we blew up the statue that way. I think that would have maybe made a bit more sense, been cooler. But, like, the method to take out Solus, which is destroying the ritual circle around him, is not a bad one, you know? Like, man, dude, you could have criticized it much better, but instead you just went for the low... You didn't even go for low-hanging fruit. You went for fruit that didn't even exist. And also, oh yes, time to make my point. Let's put on silly music. Wow, dude, see, this is bad, actually.
And we end with these 2 figures coming out of the Fade. No stakes, no blood, no tactics, no teammates, a straight path where you mash attack and dodge a few times.
Damn, dude, like, this ending where you see
no blood,
these 2 figures... who are presumably the Elven Gods,
and with
you know? It's like, holy shit. And did you not even see what, like, this one looks like? Those are tentacles, there are tentacles riding off of them. It's like, what is this monstrous being, you know, who has this, like, weird shape, and, like, this guy looks normal and whatnot, but then what's hurt you know? Like, what the fuck? And Solus is, like, terrifying, you know? Like, I don't know, man. It looks cool. It's a nice scene. It was a big moment in the reveal, you know? Of, oh my gosh, this is, like... more than just Solus, you know, and this was a theory that we've had since Trespasser, which is, hey, if Solus did seal away the Elven Gods, that must mean that if he opens the veil, he must unseal the other Elven Gods, right? And it's like, how does this work? What was going to happen? What is his plan for it, you know? It's like, this is a very big and important thing, you know? It's like, I don't get it, you know? I don't get it.
Coming out of the Fade. No stakes, no blood, no tactics, no teammates, a straight path where you mash attack and dodge a few times with Kojima amounts of cutscenes. Just remove the name Dragon Age for a second, alright? What gets you excited about this trailer? If you hadn't been told it was Dreadwolf or Baldur or whatever, would this gameplay make you want this game? Because
I guess. Like, and also implying that this isn't a Dragon Age game. I'm sorry, dude. I think Dragon Age is more than just its gameplay, okay? I'm sorry. You know, I think Dragon Age is more than its gameplay, personally, you know? I think what makes Bioware games isn't really their gameplay, and additionally, come on, dude, be honest. No one played BioWare for their gameplay, okay? It is a well-founded meme that most of people who play BioWare games is like, man, dude, this is terrible gameplay, you know? What is this, you know? It doesn't mean that the gameplay is holistically bad, it's objectively bad, that's not a thing, you know? But it does indicate that what matters to many BioWare fans is the story, the characters, the world, and like the setting broadly, right? That is what people like about BioWare. This game is not a removal of that. This game is not a detraction from that. It is just another Dragon Age game. Different gameplay, sure, and that is an issue with inconsistency and stuff, but it's not a problem, like, as a good game, you know? It's still gonna be a fine game, you know?
I'm looking at a generic action-adventure that is basically on rails, with nothing that makes it stand out from any other...
Nice meme, you know. I also think that Dragon Age Origins is on rail, you know. If you play the prologue, you know, it's very on rails, you know. Like it's a very have you played the Human Origins? Oh yeah, you can do like a side quest during that, but it's pretty linear and pretty on rails, okay? You go to one point to another point, okay? It's like, my man, like, what are you talking about, you know? You're just saying stuff.
Other generic action-adventure on rails.
This is so boring!
Okay, before I continue to crap on this
Nice.
game and its parent company EA and its director, let's take a breather for some positives, because there are some. Since the original
Oh boy, the director. Oh boy, that's gonna be interesting.
trailer and gameplay, more information is dropping every day. The gameplay seeming to be on rails is not an accident. In a recent interview, the game's director said the game will be mission-based, not open world, and you can revisit mission areas. Quote, you can go back, solve mysteries, do some really great side content. Not fetch quests, not grind quests, some really great side content. But I want to be clear, it's a really curated, handcrafted experience. Honestly, saying the right stuff here. Continuing on, we spent a lot of time listening to what you all said. And of course, everybody has
Now
slightly...
again, I do think this is very important to say, because again, they're framing it as in like, I'm just impartial, I'm being unbiased, you know, there's some good stuff, there's bad stuff, but here's the thing, right? The good stuff is, let's look at this. Let's look at this section. Positive news. That's like about 15 to 19 minutes, which is like 4 minutes, like 4 to 5 minutes, right? Here's this, which is basically just trashing the entire game. The previous part, which is also saying like, yeah, Bioware is also bad. There's other previous stuff, which is not necessarily talking about it, but when it goes to Veilguard, it's like, okay, bad game. You know, same with this one, bad game, you know? And then, bad game, bad. This guy wants to be seen as a very unbiased dude, but he's not unbiased. He's just using it as a visage to actually has his real points, which is he hates wokeness and he has an irrational hatred for Bioware. Which, if you don't like Bioware, just for some random reason, right? You can just say that, you know? Sometimes you can just say you don't like a company and not really give an explanation, and that's fine. But when you do give an explanation, you open yourself up to criticisms. Those criticisms will then have to be weighed and see how like legit they are. It's like me saying that, hey, I hate Doom Eternal because it's not a walking simulator. It's like, what? Like, Doom Eternal is not a walking simulator. It's not that. It's a first-person shooter. Like, what are you talking about? You know? It's not that. But I can say that, you know? And that would be an unfounded criticism because I'm missing the point, you know?
different taste, but you're not going to be gathering shards in the hinterlands. Everything is built with intention. Now, that does sound pretty good, especially compared to the grindy nature of Inquisition. I put over 100 hours into that game because I am not able to ignore the side quest tracker. It got very grindy, and moving about the hinterlands was a slow process. In all honesty, between the mission-style gameplay and this action combat with quick closing strikes, feels much more like Mass Effect than Dragon Age. And I don't say that with disdain. I greatly enjoyed Mass...
Why'd you mention Dark Souls? My man, I don't get it. You could just say it's like Mass Effect. It is Mass Effect. It's very similar to Mass Effect. Like, why did he not mention that when he was talking about the gameplay? Instead of just said, like, yeah, it's Souls-like. It's like, what do you mean?
Mass Effect, especially the melee build that I was rocking in ME3. Biotic charge in, knock down enemies like bowling pins, then lay about with my shotgun. It was darn fun. And I don't dislike this mission-style curated map idea either. It might be a breath of fresh air from the humongous but mostly empty maps we're seeing in a lot of games right now. Looking at you, Ubisoft. What gives me pause is the hallway-esque nature of what we saw in this gameplay. A linear mission is all well and good, but that video took the term linear a bit literally. What I think will give Dragon Age players pause...
I'm sorry, dude. It's literally the prologue. What else are you supposed to do? I know for a fact, if there were like side areas you can go to, people would say, Bioware is banned because they keep removing the tension. What are you supposed to do for the prologue, dude? You're literally supposed to... Like, man, dude, again, this is criticisms. Just for no reason, you know?
Is that they wanted Dragon Age, not magical Mass Effect. This article claims that it will be the full reverse of Mass Effect, where it's light on action, but heavy on roleplay. That sounds cool, it's just not what the trailer showed. Just like this article where the director talks about
I'm
combat
sorry, dude. Like, I don't get it, you know? It's like, what were they supposed to do, you know? Like, it was a reveal for the gameplay, and then they're gonna reveal more stuff afterwards, okay? Like, again, this is just complaining for complaining's sake.
How deep it is. I'm gonna link all these. It all sounds great. We didn't see any of it. Now, more points go to how...
Damn, dude, you do realize that in Dragon Age Origins we didn't see most of this stuff, okay? We didn't have like a 5-hour video, no, a 6-hour video of going through every single origin, you know? And not only that, let's say we didn't have a 12-hour video going through every single origin and then the different dialogue choices you can have of said origin, right? We didn't have that. Like, again, this is complaining for complaining's sake, you know? If this guy's criticisms was applied, like, consistently, he would also complain about Dragon Age Origins, like, reveal. It's like, It's nonsense.
Bioware, as the director said, there is a built-in feature to recap the story and input your decisions to affect the world state you left off in Inquisition. That means I can pretend that I didn't sacrifice Bull's men for the sake of the Alliance and the strength of my army. I was trying to save the world, okay? But this is huge news, because the director said it's important to us that this is built into the client. You can play this game entirely offline. No connection. You don't have to link your EA account. Go on. Bioware is 100% focused on this being the most complete game we can make it. Okay. I just want to underscore this. I want to emphasize it. There's not going to be any microtransactions. There's not going to be any battle pass. You don't have to connect online. Okay. Credit where it's due. That is fantastic news. It is a sad commentary on the state of the games industry that it's great news when somebody says, hey, our game is going to be finished when we ship it out, and you don't have to keep paying for the game that you paid for. But here we are. Okay, we're hearing the right words from the directors, and I love that. But what they showed doesn't match up with any of that.
Yeah, which is again like such a non-falsifiable statement, right? Like, you can't just say that, like, yeah, but we didn't see any of this in the gameplay. Like, my guy, you didn't see most stuff in Dragon Age Origins gameplay reveal. You do realize that, you know? Like, this was criticism implied consistently. You would also complain about Origins, you know? But this is just specifically on Veilguard, and I think the reason is literally just because of wokeism, you know?
So for now, I think I'm right to be more than a little skeptical. I'm also concerned that the gameplay simply will not be fun and engaging because of the state of Bioware. That's the next concerning piece of this puzzle, the turnover at Bioware. Business has not been good for several years now, and they've had to slim down. Bioware's golden era was some time ago. That term means different things to different people. For some of you, it's going to be Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights years. For most people, I'd wager it's the Mass Effect, Jade Empire, Kotor, Dragon Age.
Okay. Like, again, like, Bioware has had issues, right? Especially with the layoffs and whatnot. But, like, again, I feel like this isn't really being used in good faith, you know? This is being going to be used to just, like, again, and this video is about not really the game itself, but more about, because here's the thing, right? If Veilguard didn't look like, or didn't have the sort of, like, wokeness thing inserted into it, I don't think this guy would have, like, really fucking cared, you know? Like, honestly.
Decade. And what a decade that was. Seriously, could we crowdfund Blue Point to do Kotor or Jade Empire? Whatever your definition, I think we can all agree that the last couple of years with Anthem and Andromeda have not been golden. There were also a slew of canceled games you might not have heard about. There was a Warhammer Online game, Command & Conquer Generals 2, and Shadow Realms. I think many would argue that their slide began with Inquisition, with its bloated MMO mechanics. Overall, I enjoyed that one, but yeah, it wasn't up to the Bioware standard that we knew. I would go...
My man, it's fine. Like, Inquisition has issues, but it's a fine Bioware game, you know? Again, it's just like... There's not really any, like, point being made. You know, there are some points that I can agree with, but they're such, like, low-hanging fruits. Everyone will agree with that. But it's, again, framed in this way that's like, oh, yeah, and by the way, the real issue is this. You know, it's like, okay.
So far is to argue the downfall started with Mass Effect 3 and its unfinished ending, where, after 3 whole games full of important choices, you literally arrive at a final room and you choose one of 3 walkways that end in identical machines. Oh, but they're 3 different colors. Then you'd get one of 3 almost identical cutscenes, but the predominant color matches the one that you picked. They fixed it later with DLC, but I'm still mad.
That was like 8 years ago, asshole. People don't forget.
Anyway, whatever the Golden Age was, it's gone, and almost no one from that time remains.
I don't know why he's mentioned that, I guess. Maybe he has people that he knows. They're like, oh yeah, Bioware's Golden Age was Baldur's Gate and Kotor. Okay, everything past that is literally garbage. Which is like, I also find those people very suspicious, you know.
And one of them was Mary Kirby, who created fan favorite Varric, which probably explains why.
Additionally, these people do not give a shit, okay? The same people who are saying like, oh, they got rid of the writer who wrote Varric, right? Did not care. They hated Inquisition. They hated Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2 had Varric, okay? They hated these people, right? But the moment they leave, right? The moment they're not there anymore, is when it's a problem. It's when, like, oh yeah, now Bioware's ruined for now, for real, you know? It's not consistent, you know? It's like, same when David Gator left, okay? Did you not realize that David Gator also wrote Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition? Like, is that not something to be considered, you know? If these people who wrote, like, Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition, which were bad games to many of these people who weren't up to Bioware standards, right, then does that not mean that, hey, those games are also bad and the writers who wrote them are bad or lost touch with what made Dragon Age Origins good? These guys will never talk about it and be consistent, you know. They will not say that, yeah, David Gator is okay, but after Dragon Age Origins, he's kind of trash, you know, and it's good that he actually left the company, you know. It's like, these guys are not consistent, you know? These guys will just say things because they just hate Bioware, you know?
Why he was replaced by Thorin Oakenshield in that original trailer. She and others contributed heavily to the Dragon Age series over the years, so if this new game ends up feeling a little different...
I love just saying stuff, okay? Yes, Varric, yes, Oakenshield, yes, I love saying stuff. I love saying stuff, you know? I love saying stuff with no meaning.
In that original trailer. She and others contributed heavily to the Dragon Age series over the years, so if this new game ends up feeling a little different, it's probably because a lot of the writers from the games you loved 15 years ago are mostly gone.
And additionally, this is another very weird thing that gamers don't understand how game development works. You do realize that writing is relatively quick to finish, right? There's still some adjustments you have to make within sort of writing a game. such as, hey, the technology can't support this thing, or there's no real time to develop on this concept, so we're going to have to change it and whatnot. Most of the stuff that was written for the game is probably done already. And when Mary Kirby, my apologies, when Mary Kirby went and left BioWare, right, got, laid off, most of the writing is probably done, And also this, again, implies another thing, which is the other writers in BioWare who aren't the leads, right, are the things that holding up the entire thing, which is, again, implying that games are not a collaborative effort. You have the guys on top who do everything good and great, and then you have the grunts at the bottom who just do what the guys say, which is never, like, how games work, Again, this is,
gone. Something else that's been happening in that time is their parent company, EA, has gotten so much worse. As I said, I think BioWare started heading in a bad direction around 2012, 2014-ish. In unrelated news, Andrew Wilson became the CEO of EA Games in late 2013. Here's a picture of Andrew. He looks like a Bond villain, doesn't he? If I was writing a story with a caricature of a fat cat CEO and I wanted him to look bad, who quoted Ayn Rand as a response to everything, this is the guy that I'd want to cast. He just looks like the kind of guy who thinks games should be using that blockchain thing, NFTs are the future, The guy who thinks that AI could totally replace half his developers, doesn't he? He looks like the kind of guy who thinks games should have an ad-supported tier, like a crappy streaming service, and he looks like that. With the exception of the Ayn Rand bit, he is literally...
Sure, I agree. Don't know what the point is being made, Well, I mean, I do know. The point is literally just being like, BioWare bad, am I right, guys? It's like, again, this difficulty may seem very hard to cover because he's not really saying things that are wrong, but the thing is you have to understand is what is he trying to use these points for? He's making okay points and points that people would agree with, but what is he actually trying to say? What is the sort of the thing that the guy is trying to accomplish? And again, since the moment ago, he talked about how Acolytes is very bad and like how Bridgerton is like good, right? And then throughout this whole thing, it's like hints of pansexuality, making them all pan, and then other hints of like, and this like diverse this, and they're trying to find a different audience, a hipper audience, Like it's clear that the goal that this guy is trying to achieve is wanted to use these good points to hide the fact that he's saying, yeah, BioWare's bad because of wokeism, right? Like, it does not matter. If every single one character in the game was straight white males, the guy would not have that much of a substantive video, right? And additionally, all the points he makes would feel very weaker, because his audience, right, isn't really that, receptive to that. They'd probably agree with some of it, but again, none of it's really substantial. Like the dialogue and options and whatnot, or the voice acting. Like, how are those bad voice actings? What makes them bad? Bad voice acting, to me at least, is voice acting where you don't deliver a line how it feels right to be. It's a very tense situation. You have to be very tense in your voice, or still retaining like the accent, the general like mannerisms, but you have to be tense in that. And if it's not that in those tense situations, then it is a bad voice acting, take, right? But it didn't say that. He just showed a clip and said, bad, am I right, guys? Bad. Which is like not substantive,
Literally done all of those things. In an earnings call in 2021, Andy said NFT and blockchain games are the future of our industry. This year, he stated that using AI would help the company build products on a global basis at a faster rate and allow developers to get to the fun more quickly. He added, there's a real hunger amongst our developers to get to this as quickly as possible. I'm sure there is, Andrew. He also stated that EA is going to look into implementing ads in your games. In your games that you pay for and still have a cash shop, they want to put advertisement. But don't worry, Andy said it would be a thoughtful implementation. Henry, thoughts? Liar, 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 liar. Like, how do I mock that? What quippy line or show or movie clip could I possibly insert right here that is a bigger joke than what this...
You can just say it's bad. Like, I don't know, man. You don't have to, like, appeal to the people who have no attention span and just say, like, yeah, dude, let me show you Family Guy clip 50 million and show you that it's bad. Like, you don't have to do that, You can just say it's bad. Like, I don't know, dude. It's bad thing bad, bad thing bad. Like, again, like, what is the point that's being used here? EA controls BioWare and therefore equals bad. Like, I'm sorry, dude. I don't think transitive properties really works here, Especially since everything that we know about Veilguard is a single-player offline game with no microtransactions. Like, I don't know, dude. Again, I don't see the point of what he's saying. Oh, I mean, I do. It's literally just to, like, again, look, he said positive stuff, guys. He said good things that are positive about the game. But then, literally the rest of the video is just like, well, game bad, actually,
This man says with a straight face, Stephen Wright needs to quit performing. He can't compete with this guy. Oh, EA is also the company that's trying to rebrand loot boxes, which is straight up gambling that is marketed to children, psychologically manipulating them by creating artificial scarcity because kids, and most adults, still don't get that concept for digital goods. They tried to call them surprise mechanics, comparing them to Kinder eggs or Hatchimals. Thanks for the $5. Surprise! You didn't get the rare armor you wanted, but you were so close. Want to try again for $5 more? That is EA, the company that wants to put ads in games, the company that wants to sell you NFTs in games. That's the company that owns BioWare. And it seems like the games director genuinely loves the Dragon Age series and he's proud to be offering an offline, no micro... Want to try again for $5 more? That is EA.
Hold on. I just wanted to hear something quickly.
EA, the company that wants to put ads in games, the company that wants to sell you NFTs in games, that's the company that owns BioWare. And it seems like the game's director genuinely loves the Dragon Age series, and he's proud to be offering.
And isn't the game director a
an
trans woman?
offline, no microtransaction game. But when you're owned, you don't always get to keep those promises. And I do not trust EA.
Hold on, let's look this up. Dragon Age Veil Guard. He's probably going to mention it, but you know why not? Dragon Age Veil Guard. Game director. Game director. I have no idea why it's space. Okay. Why'd they misgender them? You see, this is the thing that's very funny with people like this guy, like these, right? They want to make, again, making good points, but then they stumble on their own, like, reactionary tendencies, okay? They can't, like, keep it together to say, like, okay, she. They have to say he, you know? And let's listen to it again, you know? Let's hear.
To be offering an offline, no microtransaction game. But when you're owned, you don't always get to keep. Genuinely loves the Dragon Age series, and he's proud.
Yeah, and he's proud. What do you mean, dude? They're not a man, they're a woman. I don't know, dude. Like, let's look at her. That's a woman. 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 Like, again, so far in the video, again, I think some people may say that me covering this video is a bit weird because the guy isn't really making any bad points, you know? They would agree with that. Like, hey, dude, the guy says the gameplay isn't really great, you know? The guy says the dialogue's off. This guy says it looks really terrible, right? Like, art style-wise. But then, it hides the fact that this is the guy, what the guy really wants to say, which is, oh yeah, by the by, he has love for Dragon Age, but he seems to be, you know, not in the right mindset, you know. It's like, my guy, they're a woman. What are you talking about, you know? What's with this, like, stumbling on, again, making good points to hide, to make a visage of, hey, let me make some good points, but then, after all those good points, okay, cracks knuckles. Time to be transphobic. Like, and this is the point, okay? I can't really take all the other stuff seriously, because the thing is, it could be swapped out for anything. The guy doesn't care about the game. The guy cares about this sort of culture war discourse, you know?
To be offering an offline, no microtransaction game. But when you're owned, you don't always get to keep those promises. And I do not trust EA. So this game looks terrible. BioWare has been...
EA isn't a great company, right? But EA hasn't, like, explicitly lied. If there was microtransactions in Veilguard, right, they would not have said anything. They wouldn't have said if it was, like, just purely single player, offline, or has microtransactions. They would have said nothing. If they wanted, you know, not tell people. They told people explicitly, and EA has never been, like, dishonest entirely, right? They may be, like, microtransactions in the sense of, you can buy a copy of, like, I guess a Dragon Age book, and in it there's a code where you can get a weapon inside the game, right? So that's like a form of microtransactions, I guess. But, like, one, that's not really that bad, and two, Origins had that. Dragon Age 2 had that. And, like, I don't know, dude, it's fine, you know?
Been performing terribly for years. EA continues to
in Dragon Age Origins, it was more of like you bought, like, the festive day packs, right? The festive day gifts, which would make give companions like 50+ approval, you know?
or terrible. And finally, we've got some very concerning comments coming from the game's director, Corinne Bush. So a couple years ago, BioWare did a blog piece about him, as they often do with their employees.
Again, my guy, you don't have to, like, we have eyes, dude. Like, what is with this?
A couple years ago, BioWare did a blog piece about him, as they often do with their...
My guy, they're a woman. I don't think men, like, look like this, okay? I don't think men look this, like, womanly, you know, like feminine, okay? Not even femboys look like this, you know? Like, they're a woman. What are you talking about, you know? Again, this is clearly what the video was always about. It was never about Dragon Age Veilguard, because if it was just about Dragon Age Veilguard, they would never have to mention this, right? They would never have to mention this. But what it is about, fundamentally is about, in its core, is wokeism bad, this man is bad, this person who is a male is bad. It's like, okay, cool, nice meme, dude. I can see where your sort of political leanings lie.
Their employees. There are two things about this post that really worry me for this game. The first being that he doesn't want to manage. The post says he's careful not to overstate the directorial role. Quote, game directors are sometimes thought of as big personalities who are singularly responsible for the purity of their creative visions. But for me, it's really about being a steward for the vision that we as a team have collectively defined. I get a high-level view of everything as it's coming together and can steer the project as it does, but ultimately it's about empowering people to work together, play with ideas, offer critiques, and make decisions, all to help create a cohesive...
So there are many different ways you can make a game. So this guy is not going to really mention any of it because, you know, he doesn't seem like he's really concerned about game design or how games are actually made. So game design, as a sort of like being a game director, being like an executive producer, means a lot of things. What it means is that you can institute like what the vision is and how things will go. And this is one of the two ways. You have like people like Hideo Kojima, who is very controlling on how the vision of the game should be. You know, a lot of the eccentricities and weirdness of like Death Stranding is because of Hideo Kojima. You know, he added those things, and you know, he was the guy who used all the developers below him as tools to get through his vision, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, having auteurs in the gaming space is just as valid as the auteurs in the movie space. But additionally, there's another aspect that games are a collaborative medium. Writers will do nothing if they don't have programmers. Programmers can't do anything if they don't have writers. Same with like combat designers, same with level designers, same with concept artists or modelers. They will not be able to make the game unless they're multidisciplined, which is a very hard thing to do. Because if you try to like sprawl out your disciplines, right, be very broad in it, you can have an issue where you're not really good in it. You understand it, you have an idea of it, but you can't really make it the best version it is. That's why specialization is a very important thing in video games, especially in the AAA space. So, what Corny, I'm sorry, I cannot say names, okay? This is not me being transphobic, I apologize. I'm just gonna say Bush. What she was basically saying is that she's following a different type of design discipline, which is, hey, and as we can like read this here again, but for me it's really about being a steward for the vision. So she basically like does the thing which is, hey guys, so the vision for, you know, Veilguard is this, right? I don't think they made an official statement on what the vision statement is, but like this is the vision statement. And she would then go to these developers and say, so how does this like thing you want to do for the game fit into the vision statement? It's like, so how does this dialogue fit into the vision statement, you know? And she would ask that, and she would try to steer that dialogue into the vision statement for the game, which is a perfectly valid thing. You know, that's just another different kind of design discipline. Not all games have to be auteurs, like being run by auteurs, but additionally, not all games have to be this sort of broad, everyone does their own thing, you know? There are issues with both design disciplines, which is a lot of the people who are under auteurs can buckle against their sort of ideas and basically make the game worse because of it, because they're not actually following what they're saying, you know? And that's like obviously for a different person needs a different team, right? And additionally, that is what Dragon Age has always done. Dragon Age and Mass Effect have always been characterized within Bioware as two things. Mass Effect is the Enterprise. You have Casey Hudson, like Drew Karpyshkin, and like Mac Walters, who are the top of the line. They're the I think the yellow shirts, red shirts in Star Trek New Generation. Like they're the leaders who then give orders to everyone down at the bottom, right? That's a perfectly valid form, but Dragon Age has always taken a different approach, which is what Origins was made under. Origins has always been described as the pirate crew, where the pirate captain is just like on board. You can shout to him and ask him something, and he'll say do this or do that, right? You can also then have the pirate captain overseeing everything, and then like make adjustments as accordingly. It's a valid form, and that's how Dragon Age Origins was made. And Dragon Age Origins, I imagine a lot of the people who watch this video and the guy himself like Dragon Age Origins. So this isn't like bad, you know. This is just Dragon Age following its design, its leadership, its how it facilitates developers to make the game as Dragon Age Origins. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, I know this guy's gonna be like, yeah, but like that's bad, you know. And also because it's like, okay, damn dude, can't believe you want to keep misgendering her.
Experience for the player. Aw, that sounds lovely. And that person sounds like a nightmare to work for. Look, I love the humble stance that he's trying to take here, and I hope that it's just nice sounding words. Like, it is an interview. You gotta say what you think sounds nice. Because if this is truly how the ship gets run, it's gonna sink. A director is a very...
Again, Dragon Age was run like that. Like, Dragon Age Origins was run like that ship. Now, are there issues with that sort of design? Yeah, sure, there are issues with that sort of done. But there's strength with it. And the strength was shown with Dragon Age Origins. You know, Dragon Age Origins during its development was going to be like a Conan the Barbarian, a much more Lord of the Rings thing, It was going into different design directions for fantasy, and like it all came together to make Dragon Age Origins, which a lot of people like. There's nothing wrong with his design philosophy. The only reason this guy is like actually complaining is because A, he's ignorant, he doesn't know how Dragon Age Origins was developed. He just saw the statement and went like, I hate Bioware, and also I hate, wokeism, and so went with that mindset and just like found issues with it, even though that's how Dragon Age has always been run, And additionally, because he just didn't bother looking it up. He didn't ask, like, how was Dragon Age Origins developed? Let's make a comparison to see if the game is good, and following in line with what made Dragon Age Origins good. Because making a game isn't just about the surface level details, it's about the behind the scenes things.
Important job. The buck stops there. So again, I hope this is just an attempt to sound amiable, because if the game gets made with this attitude of everybody just play with ideas, make decisions, that's not going to result in a cohesive experience. If this is how he manages, then he's not managing. If this game ends up feeling like it was made by committee, this attitude is part of the problem. The other part is, the 10-year dev cycle and high turnover. But there's another paragraph here concerning how he views this role-playing game as being inherently queer.
Man, dude. Like, holy shit, dude. Like, I will never get this. Like, this guy, like, misgendering her, like, 55 times a second, Like, my man, dude, keep it in your pants, Bloody heck. Like, my man, they're a woman. Like, they look like a woman, Like, we have eyes. Like, I don't know, dude. A woman, I see a woman. What is this, a woman? If you told me that was a man, okay. Like, I'm sorry, I think you're a bit insane, okay. I think you maybe need to go to, the facilities for a moment, okay? Because, like, I think you're mad, And additionally, like, saying that this philosophy is, like, a bad one when Dragon Age Origins was developed on this philosophy is really dumb, There are issues with the philosophy, sure. But there are good parts of the philosophy which Dragon Age Origins sees, unless he is going to make the argument that even Dragon Age Origins was lucky. Dragon Age Origins, like, is the exception that proves the rule, which, like, I guess it's an argument. I would disagree still, but, like, I guess it would be an argument.
This role-playing game as being inherently queer. While talking about what Dragon Age means to him, he brought up how you can be whoever you want in this game. Quote, as a queer trans woman, I have a perspective on the games that...
Man, dude, this guy, as a queer trans woman, and he keeps misgendering them for no reason. He just no. There is a reason. He just hates trans women, right? He hates the gays. He hates the wokeness. He hates all these people who are just like regular people who just like do stuff to do stuff, And like, now here's the thing for me. Is Dragon Age, like, inherently a queer thing? I mean, yeah, right. All good media is inherently a queer thing. Baldur's Gate 3 is inherently queer thing. Like, I don't know, dude. I've seen Astarion. I've seen how, like, lesbians, like, have craved for Astarion. I've seen how so many people have just, like, absolutely loved Will. I've seen so many people just, like, wanted to have, like, rough gay sex with Gale. I've seen it, I've seen the signs. I've seen the posts. I've seen the fan art, So, like... I don't know, man. This seems like a weird thing to say, but like for me, I do think it is like. I don't think Dragon Age is a game inherently about queerness because it doesn't really evolve topics. The only time it has was with Dorian, with his like sort of like. I wouldn't say homophobic, but like a homophobic adjacent father, But yeah, but like again, this is all servicing the point, which is he hates wokeness, right? And this is like a dumb argument. It makes every single other thing he says just collapse under itself because it's all being supported on the base of he hates like the wokeness. He hates the woke mob, Every single point he made crumbles under that because this is what it was leading up to. This is how the video was introduced, and this is how the video ends. It ends with him saying, "Yeah, he has ruined the game." Like, my guy, keep it in your pants. Like, I don't know, man.
Not everyone has. Dragon Age has long been a place where LGBTQIA+ folks can see people like themselves represented respectfully. It's inherently very queer, and it's such a rare thing for marginalized communities to have representation where we feel proud and powerful in how we're depicted. It's not inherently queer. It's not inherently anything. It's a role-playing game. You choose...
What? No, that's a take. It's not inherently anything? What are you talking about? What? How can you call yourself a Dragon Age fan when you don't know... What? I don't think this guy played Dragon Age Origins. If he did, he didn't pay attention. He probably just played it and just like... Broodmother there. Tits. Oh. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Dragon Age Origins has always been about, like, political stuff and even, gay stuff, but also, like, it's... I don't know, man. I don't think I don't know what to say. I mean, I kind of guess that I'm just like flabbergasted. I don't think this guy would be this idiotic to make this statement. It's not about anything. It's a role playing game. My guy, role playing games are about a lot of things. Like it depends on the sort of role playing you're doing. Obsidian's like Kotor is about like the Force and how the Force is a harmful thing to the Star Wars universe and how it's like will continually destroy things. And Kreia wants to break that cycle. Like. Kotor is about that, though does that mean that Kotor 2 is not a role-playing game? Like Fallout New Vegas is about like the political factions trying to control the Mojave and trying to shape the wasteland, and each of them shape the wasteland in different ways, good and bad ways, right? Is that not like inherently about something? Like Dragon Age Origins is about how powerful people will ignore like real like threats, like the Darkspawn, right? Into advance their own agenda. Loghain could have just like sucked up and just like helped Kaelin and driven out the Darkspawn, but no, what he did is he ran away, because he wanted to control the Ferelden because Kaelin was going to make an alliance with Orlais, like I think it's about something, like what is this dumbass thing, like my guy, oh boy, this is why the first part of the video sounded like he maybe have a point, so that when you get to this part you kind of like ignore it. He tries to like drip feed you into it, he tries to again frame it as, hey, so Acolytes, which is trying to focus on women, but like here's the thing, we have a good women show which is Bridgerton, very good, very progressive, not you didn't say progressive, like very good, and then he keeps drip feeding good points, but with the hint, the subtle hint, the visage, the layering, the coding of something else. Now at the end, he's misgendered Courtney Bush like 50 times already. He's talked about how the game being woke is like an issue, and now the inane opinion that Dragon Age and role-playing games are not about anything. Like my guy, like even D&D like role-playing is about something, right? Even if it's like as benign as my party is just like a bunch of random hobos who just like murder people, right? It's about that, it's about their adventures doing that, it's like fantastic.
Choose how your character acts and who they want.
Again, framing. Bioware hates its audience. I'm sorry, have you not seen Bioware fans? Bioware fans are anonymous, like majority wise, like queer people, or queer adjacent people, they're people who love Dragon Age for its queerness, right? Who love romancing, like with other characters in like same-sex relationship, right? Like that's the reason why they're pansexual. I have issues with the pansexuality more in the sense that I feel like because people in real life, even like pansexual people, have preferences. Some pansexual people, it may be as like very small and benign as eye color or hair color or like anything else, and there may be as well other things that are much more major, like their personality and stuff like that, right? Like, so people have preferences, and I think that is very good to have, like in a role-playing game with romances, to have characters with preferences, because I feel like it makes them a lot more of a real character, because people in real life, even pansexual people, have preferences, so like I think that's very important. But this guy's not making the argument. The guy's making the argument that having pan people at all is a bad thing, even if he doesn't explicitly say it. That's what he says inherently.
Tired of this retconning of history that everything was queer-coded or whatever, the showrunner...
I think you can fuck Zevran as a dude. I think you can fuck Liliana as a woman. I think you can go into a brothel and have gay sex. I think you can do that. You can have an orgy. You can have like lesbian sex. You can have gay sex. You can have bisexual sex. Like, and my man, these people are so dumb, and not even that, but like in the books as well. So I'm reading like all the Dragon Age books because I wanted to. It's so cool, dude. Holy shit, dude! Like the Calling is amazing. The Stolen Throne is amazing. But in one of the books, The Calling, right? There's a sort of like coded thing. There's this two Grey Wardens, Nicholas and Julian, right? And these two are like the gayest guys ever, okay? But like they're not explicitly, but like you can tell, you can feel the like the tension, the sexual tension between them, you know? And it's just like, yeah, Dragon Age, even in its other media, has always been queer coded. May not be explicitly, but it is queer coded, you know? And so again, this is just the guy not understanding Dragon Age Origins, you know? Not even Dragon Age, like, he doesn't even understand Bioware, you know? Bioware was the first studio, I think, ever to make a romance, like a gay romanceable character, which was Juhani, right? Like, Juhani. Like, Juhani was a romanceable character, only romanceable by females. Like, Bioware has always been queer. You do realize the writer for Dragon Age Origins, the lead writer for Dragon Age Origins, is a gay man. He has explicitly said that he has made the games with that sort of idea in mind. Like, my man, I don't get it, you know? I don't get it. Like, man, dude.
Runner for Bridgerton, Jess Brownell, which I mentioned at the beginning, is doing this now. A book character named Michael has been changed to Michaela, and will have a lesbian romance with a woman named Francesca. Explaining the change, Jess said she chose these two because she identified with Francesca, who is awkward and introverted.
Now, I can agree with maybe some of the issues that changing stuff from the books to sort of fit more of like an idea of like, hey, let's make them gay. I can find some issues with that, but the issue with the core issue with that isn't the woke agenda. It's that it's not really good. It's not really following the books, you know. But there's nothing wrong with like the lesbian sex. Okay, who cares? Okay, who hasn't been interested in lesbian sex? Okay, like literally no one. Literally no straight white-blooded male like me has not been interested in lesbian sex. Okay, it's just a natural fact. Okay, even straight women, right? Even straight women have been interested in lesbian sex. You know, like there's nothing wrong with that. The issue is not following the source material. Same thing would happen if it was a more of a right-wing sort of idea where instead of making the character who was a black character, right, and you made them like white, you know, that would be an issue as well. Now, in that issue, it would be a bit of a different thing because a lot of right-wing tendencies are based on hatred, you know, based on disgust. So that would be more of, I'm disgusted that this black character exists, while more of left-wing tendency is more, I want people to be identified. One is a lot more better and justifiable because one is like coming from a humanist perspective, while another one is much more of a disgust perspective, right? So like they're not exactly the same, but like somewhat similar, right? But again, like this guy is just like a reactionary who really hates wokeism, who wants to call a trans woman who's clearly a woman in every single regard. Okay, I would not be surprised if they have like the functional organs of a woman, right? Like, I would not be surprised, okay, if you told me that, hey, here's a man, you know, and you show me like Corny Bush's like picture, I would say, are you okay? Have you escaped the mental asylum? Do I need to call the police to get you back there? Are you okay, my man? How many fingers am I holding? How many fingers am I holding? What day is it? What's the big event that you know recently? Like, are you okay? Are you here? Like, again, these people are just like, they can't help themselves, you know? They can make good points, but those good points are only in service to like their reactionary tendencies, which is just like hating something that most people care about and like, okay? No one cares that like these characters are gay and whatnot. I mean, well, they like it, right? But no one like thinks it's an issue. No one does it. It's only you, my guy. I'm sorry, but it's only you.
And Jess, as a queer woman, identified with her otherness. So, since she felt a connection with a straight character, but she's a lesbian, now you all have to watch her turn that character into a lesbian. What about the introverted straight women who identified with Francesca and hope to one day find their Michael? That's what they identify with. They don't matter. Only Jess's version is important. The book was so...
Okay, again, I can see the sort of issue with that, but like again, this is in service of like disgust, you know? He's just disgusted by like lesbian relationships and like wokeness in general, which by wokeness it's having characters who don't look like him or don't fit his own perspective. I'm surprised he never mentioned how any of the characters like looked ugly or like looked manly, you know? Like I'm surprised he didn't go for that like very easy bait. I guess he must be a bit smarter than that, you know? Smarter than the average.
Oh, emotionally inclusive enough to make her feel something, and that's why it's important to change it, you see? Corinne loved how open Dragon Age was, how it made him feel seen. Everybody gets to feel seen in this role-playing game, and that's...
I mean, yeah, right? Like, that's one of the strengths of role-playing games in general, right? Is playing someone that you want to be, you know? Like, I want to be a dragon, okay? Personally. In my D&D games that I've played and whatnot, I want to be a dragon. Same with like in Dragon Age, right? I want to be the cool race, okay? Humans, boring. Get out of here. You're dumb, okay? Me, I want to play as, you know, a cool race. So this is normally for Dragon Age Origins was like a dwarf, because, you know, it's cool. They have cool armor, right? They have cool lore, you know. I want to be that, you know. And then for Dragon Age Inquisition, there's Qunari. I want to be a cool giant Qunari, you know. I want giant horns, okay? I want that. I want that experience. And so, like, that's just how RPGs are. They're very expressive with who you can be and what you want, and allow you to be that. That's what makes them so cool. You can be a different person in those contexts, you know? And you can be seen. And this isn't just like for a straight white male dude, okay? This is for like literally anyone, you know? And like, to me, I will never get why these people like act the way they do, you know? These people are like insane, like have no idea what they're doing, what they're thinking, or what they're talking about. They have to, again, look at this. They have to lie consistently. Majority of this video has to be like framed as in like, I'm just being unbiased, you know, and then has to reveal that like, yeah, they actually hate wokeness, they hate trans women, they want to misgender a guy, you know, they want to misgender the woman, right? And just constantly do that, you know. It's like, okay, like, this is what you want to do. You don't actually care about the game. Dragon Age is not something you actually care about. Bioware is not something you actually care about. What you care about is culture war discourse. And that's it. That is all it ever is. This guy didn't even like make any other like ideas on Bioware, okay? This is clear, just like a visage to just hate Bioware. No, to hate Bioware, and more importantly, majority, to hate the queerness, you know, which is something that most people either don't care about or like a lot. You know, I'm sorry, you've been left behind, my guy.
That's why he now needs to make it even more personalized to him. The rest of you can suck it. Makes perfect sense, and he is changing the companion system. They are...
I don't... Okay, so I think me, a straight white male, right, went to a bisexual woman, right, and she was bi, she had a girlfriend, right, but she broke up for whatever, like, bisexual reasons, you know, am I right? And she broke up, right, and then she wanted to get with me. Okay? Like, sure, who cares? She's bi? I get to still fuck her? Like, what's the issue? Like, being pansexual does not mean you can't have sex with them. It means you can have sex with them, you know? Like, as a straight male dude, you know, I will still be like, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna romance, like, Emmerich, Lucans, Darwin, or whatnot, because, like, sorry, dudes, I'm not gay, okay? I'm really not gay, you know? I'm not that kind of guy, you know? But, like, I'll still be able to romance the other characters, which is a strength of, like, pansexuality, right? You get to romance the characters you want. Now, I do have an issue with it broadly, not really relating to anything of me hating wokeness or whatever. More me just, like, I do think it's valuable to like a character, to be able to romance a character. Because it kind of sucks, right? I remember when I was playing Dragon Age Inquisition as a woman, right? Just, like, a female elf, just to, like, try stuff, right? I was like, you know, I wanted to try this, you know, I don't really play as an elf too often, you know, let me see it. As far as a woman, I want to romance Cassandra. Issue is, Cassandra's not romanceable as a female character, and my entire playthrough felt so bad. I was just like, man, dude, this sucks. This sucks, dude. Like, man, this sucks. And it sucked, right? I wasn't able to romance the character I wanted, and now I was too late in the game. I wasn't able to, like, pivot to another romance, or the other romances aren't what I wanted, you know? And so it's like, what do I do now? I'm cucked, you know? Right? And so having that feeling of, like, you could just romance them because you can is kind of cool, you know? Even for, like, straight white male dudes, right? Like, you telling me no one wants to romance, like, Nev, like, Tash, like, Harding, like, Balara? Like, no one wants to romance them? Like, get out of here, dude. You must go back to the insane asylum, okay? I'm sorry you escaped. You're off your meds, you know? Like, my guy, what are you doing? Are you okay?
All canonically pansexual now, which I had to look up, and nothing will make you feel old like having to Google slang. What is a skibbity riz? Is it skibbity or...
What? Hold on.
You can suck it. Makes perfect sense, and he is changing the companion system. They are all canonically pansexual now, which I had to look up, and nothing will make you feel old like having...
Who are you? I'm sorry. I knew what pansexual was when I was like 10, I think. Like what? How old are you? Are you like 80 or something? I mean, if you're 80, I mean, you look good for your age, my guy. No disrespect, okay? My man, you must be, like, having a great moisturizer, okay? Like, my dude, like, can you tell me what your moisturizer is? Like, holy shit. Like, who are you? Like, what are you referring to? Canonical? You've said canonical in this video. Is it woo? Is it there? Is it romanceable? Who are you? Oh my gosh, dude. This is ridiculous, my man. I honestly don't know. This is ridiculous, my dude.
The companion system. They are all canonically pansexual now, which I had to look up, and nothing will make you feel old like having to Google slang. What is a skibbity riz? Is it skibbity or skibbity? A pansexual is an evolved bisexual to account for the plethora of gender.
They don't know. They don't know. They don't know. I'm sorry, you 80-year-old man, okay? You must go back to the old age home, okay? You've escaped. Yeah, that's where you need to go back. Go back to the old age home, okay? I'm sorry, Grandpa, okay? We're not calling you because, like, you're fucking insane, you know? Like, holy shit. Like, what? Dude, like, there's so, like, and this is the thing, right? They will never make good criticisms because they will always have to make a terrible criticism, right? Because their reactionary tendencies cannot make them have a good point, okay? They cannot have a good argument. You can say, what about these other good arguments? Those were veneers. Those were visages. And not only that, but they were wrong, you know? Like, my guy has a huge hate boner for, like, wokeness, right? That it will make him insane, okay? I'm sorry, dude. Like, my man, pansexuality is, like, it's okay, you know? You could, like, the argument I would have agreed with, right? And I would have been like, yep, is, I think it removes some identity from the companions, right? Because if you have a person, and all people have, like, their own preferences and whatnot, some are very minor and very, like, vapid, but it's still, like, valid, and some of them are very major, like personality and stuff, right? And all these people, even if they're pansexual, right, will be like, hey, this is my cutoff point, you know? And I think that is very valuable for, like, a game with romances, because it can mean that, hey, this character who can just, like, romance anyone feels like they don't have that layer of identity to them, you know? And that is, like, a legitimate criticism I would agree with, and I think it's very valid, you know? But, like, he didn't go for that. He went for the weird argument of, they're all pan now? Damn, dude. It's like, and also this is missing the fact that, like, Zivran and Liliana were bisexual. Like, did you not play Origins? Did you not have, like, Zevran hit on you? Like, the biggest complaints with Dragon Age Origins was, like, people saying that, hey, Zevran hits on me too hard, you know? Like, I don't know, my dude. This seems, like, very weird to me, you know?
They are attracted to everyone, I guess. You know, the word queer has gone through some changes. When I was young, it was a slur for gay people, but before that, it just meant odd or different. And we're going back to the original definition now, and even straight people are calling themselves queer because it's cool. They are literally...
Definitions change? They do that? Awful meant, like, cool, you know? Now it means bad. Like, definitions change? I'm sorry, like, does it suck that definitions change? I guess, you know? But, like, they do, you know? Like, what's the... Man...
just telling everyone I'm different. I'm not like the others. That is the cringiest teenage cry for...
Huh? Like, yeah, are there cringe people who use the word queer? Yeah. Same with literally everyone. Like, the human race is cringe, okay? I don't know. Huh? What? Okay. A point, I guess, you know. Are some people who call themselves queer cringe? Yeah. So is... literally everyone. Like, some straight people are cringe, you know? Like, that's a true thing, you know?
For attention that I've ever heard. Corinne is focused on making the companions have agency. They are pansexual, not player sexual, so if you don't bone them, they'll bone each other. That is what romance options are in video games.
Yeah, right. Like, that was a cool thing, you know? With, and I think something that really makes the companions very, like, interesting as characters, which is they will get into relationships outside the player, you know? And that's one of the biggest criticisms that I think early Bioware can have, which is sometimes it feels like the companions just, like, sit around you and only you, you know? You're the end-all and be-all of the universe. But, like, as they got better, as they went on, you know, they said, hey, what if the companions had interests outside the player? What if they did stuff outside the player? You know, what if they talked outside the player? You know, and having each character romance is just a logical extension to this. Not even Baldur's Gate 3 did this. You know, there was clear like romantic tension between Karlach and Will, yet they never really manifested in the base game. It manifested in the end of the game, in the epilogue, right, where it was implied that hey, they're actually together now. You know, and I think that's like pretty sweet. You know, because it makes the characters feel more real. You know, they have interests outside the player. You know, and like, I don't see how that's an issue. Like, yeah, dude. Like, do you want a harem? Like, sure, right? Who doesn't? You know, I want a harem. You know, I want to romance all the female companions at the same time. You know, like I'm still jealous. Not jealous. I'm still mad at Bioware for never having us allowed to romance Meryl and Isabella at the same time. Okay, it is clear that could have been a polyamorous relationship. Okay, it is so clear. But no, they didn't. Okay, Bioware, the cucks. You know, that's the thing that people should be bothering Bioware about, not allowing you to romance Meryl and Isabella at the same time. Okay, but no, we have to talk about this in like BS of, but they're pan and that's bad and that's not good. Let me misgender the game direct like 50 more times. He like, my man.
Games, by the way, you pick the right dialogue, you do some side missions, and you get rewarded with pornographic cutscenes. The companions will also fight on their own.
Maybe in Dragon Age Origins. But I wouldn't call Dragon Age Origins like pornographic cutscenes. Like, have you seen that? That awkwardness of like. Like, I don't get it. Like, what's the point? Like, how are any like I never felt like that, you know? Like, the only game I felt like that was maybe the Witcher series with Witcher 1, because a lot of it was literally like Geralt collecting baseball cards like the woman he's had sex with, you know? And like it's fine if they don't want to, like in the remake, right, for Witcher 1, they're not going to have that anymore, which, you know, I'm mad about. Not because, like, you know, I want to see sex cards, okay? It's because, like, it's a core part of Geralt, okay? I want to see him just, like, have cards of, like, women he's had sex with, you know? It's pretty good. You know, I want to see a moment where Yennefer has like, Triss's, like, sex card, right? Sees her tits bulging, and then shows Geralt, like, Geralt, why'd you do this? You know? Like, that would have been fantastic, you know?
With much less skill tree customization than you, main character Rook, you'll have to romance them, or at the very least befriend them, because increasing your
Dang, dude. Something that Bioware has always done since Mass Effect 2 and like Dragon Age Origins. Like, I remember that like Sten gets like resistance if you have a good relationship with him. I remember like, I think it wasn't resistance, it was constitution. Alistair was strength, I think. But yeah, I mean, like, you got bonuses to your relationship because that makes sense, you know? If you have a good relationship with a character and they, you know, and this is just like a proven fact for like people in general, you know, you feel happier when you're with people that you like, you know? You feel unhappy when you're with people you hate, you know? It's like, that's a thing that happens, that's a thing that's good. I think that makes the role playing more meaningful because it's not only a sort of story thing, but it's also a mechanical thing, you know? I think that's good, right?
Relationship meter is the only way to unlock new skills for them. You can supposedly issue commands, or, you know, they'll just do their own thing. Honestly, it sounds boring and horny. More news and interviews are...
Damn, I can't believe Mass Effect has like bad gameplay. I mean, I guess it's true. You know, Bioware's games has always had bad gameplay. The only Bioware game with good gameplay, is funny enough, is Anthem, right? Like, Anthem's the only game that has like really, like, holy shit, dude. Like, Anthem with like companions and a much more structured story. Peak, dude. That would have been, oh, so good, dude. But no, they abandoned Anthem, which sucks.
They're coming in all the time. Most of it being the director telling us the game will have things that haven't been shown yet, but I guess we'll find out more as time goes on. Most of what we're being told does sound really good, but what we've seen so far does not. So, what do you think? Are you excited about what you're reading? Are you excited about what you...
I don't know, dude. I think, okay, so let's wrap this video up. I'm going to go through the comments just to get a general vibe for it. But like, so, wrapping up, let's just say this. This guy has clearly, and he's not dumb. He's very intelligent, right? He clearly understands that he cannot just say like wokeism, because that is not something most people have. The culture has shifted to the point where you can't really insult gay people directly anymore, right? That's something that just isn't a thing, you know? You can't make these criticisms like you could in like 2016, right? Where the woke mob has introduced diversity, you know, into games, movies, TV shows that didn't have it for no reason, and it's bad because of this, you know? Like, you can't do that anymore. You have to now hide it in a veneer. And with this, the guys did. A lot of this video had points I could agree with, you know? like, yeah, sure, Bioware copying a lot of other people isn't really a great thing because it can remove their own identity, you know? Like, I think there is something to it to have Dragon Age be very consistent with its gameplay style, like Dragon Age Origins, and just have it throughout and like develop and improve it incrementally. There's like a lot of benefit to that. And additionally, like, yeah, I mean, it can also be weird that the art style is inconsistent as well. But everything else that he says is just like all in service for this end bit where he misgenders, Connie Bush like 50 times a second, where he then talks about how this new slang word pansexuality is like, what? Like, that still baffles me, dude. Like, I'm sorry, dude. You must be 80, if you haven't heard the word pansexuality, Like, I'm sorry, you must be so removed from video games entirely to not know that. And additionally, to not know that, like, Dragon Age is always... And additionally, another thing, which is, like, role-playing games aren't about anything. Like, that's another dumb thing, right? Like, all these, like, good points, or these points you can half agree with, right? They're all crumble down when you finally realize that this guy, his only opinion is he hates wokeness. He hates diversity. He hates women, frankly. He hates, any people that isn't just a straight white male, So yeah, let's quickly just peruse the comment section and see. I'm so sick of Joss Whedon's fantasy. Okay, color means neon, I guess. Cool, same stuff. This is what happens when all you creatives never actually had to learn. Okay, no real evidence for that. Because I'm able to ignore the side tracker. Okay. Dragon Age died the second. Okay, David Guerra left, the famous gay man who wrote the Dorian questline, which was about how the gay man was, persecuted by his like homophobic adjacent father. Okay, cool. How are you going to turn a true fan for Gary morality and complex characters? Okay, cool. I guess, dude. Souls like, yeah, sure. Do you really need a detective and an army scout? I'm sorry, dude. You're not gonna fight Solus like with an army, You don't need, like, Solus will just turn you to stone. That's what happened in Trespasser, Like, what are you talking about? Have you played the game? The theory about the modern audience will ruin many companies. Yes, the customer is always right, so it was bad in many senses, but this new kick the customer in the crotch because they will buy the product no matter what, because they are loyal, doesn't work either. Fans aren't idiots, and not because you call the video game Dragon Age. It means it's Dragon Age. Yeah, dude. Again, modern audiences seems like to be the new word for, like, diversity, for wokeness and stuff, right? They've shifted around that, which is very funny. Fascinating characters like Morgan, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, why appears to have gone full Disney. Direct comparison and Baldur's Gate 3, yeah, okay, cool, dude. Like, Baldur's Gate 3, also a game that's, like, dude, I don't think these guys, like, actually watch the video, right? Because, like, sure, he has interesting points that he makes, but, like, all of it's in service of, woke agenda bad, Like, I don't know, man. Anyways, this has been a long video. I didn't intend to make this long video. But hey, there's a lot of dumb stuff that I had to cover, right? So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please comment down below what do you think about it, and if you enjoyed it as well, perhaps considering liking, maybe even subscribing, that'd be cool, and yeah, I hope you enjoy your day.